Lakes are meant to be calm. They sit there quietly, reflecting the sky, collecting rain, and minding their business. Normally, when something goes wrong in nature, we expect noise, we expect motion, we expect some sort of warning. But alas, some disasters are silent. And in 1986, in Cameroon, a lake reminded humanity that silence can be lethal. The unsettling part is not that people died. The unsettling part is that nothing looked wrong beforehand. No cracks in the ground, no deadly wave, no rumbling earth. Just a lake doing exactly what it had done for decades, which was basically nothing. So what kind of lake can kill without moving? To answer that, we have to do a little bit of geology. Some lakes sit above places where the earth is still active. Deep below them, magmatic CO2 migrates upward through fractures and into the lakes continuously. In shallow lakes that melt seasonally, these gases escape gradually. But sometimes the lake is deep enough to trap them with pressure, and when that happens, the lake becomes something else entirely. The key here is carbon dioxide. We treat CO2 as mostly harmless. It's colorless, odorless, and we deal with it constantly. We breathe it out, plants absorb it, we pump it into drinks for fun. But carbon dioxide under pressure behaves very differently. At depth, gas doesn't rise, it dissolves. The deeper the water, the higher the pressure. The higher the pressure, the more gas the water can hold. So instead of bubbling upward, CO2 becomes invisible, locked into the water itself. At that point, the lake isn't just holding water, it's storing compressed gas. Now layer that with another quiet process called stratification. In many deep volcanic lakes, the water separates into permanent layers. Warm, lighter water stays on top, cold, dense water sinks and rarely comes back up. The layers don't mix, and this ensures that the gases that spawn at the bottom stay there. The lake looks peaceful because all the danger has been hidden by pressure and patience. This is the part that makes limnic eruptions especially deceptive. Nothing is building up in a visible way. There are no bubbles, no hits, no warning signs a human being would recognize. The system is stable, but only barely. And stability like that doesn't feel slowly, it feels all at once. All it takes is a disturbance, something small and random. A landslide slipping into the lake, a distant earthquake, heavy rainfall cooling the surface, even strong winds. Anything that pushes deep gas-rich water upward just a little. Because once that water rises, pressure drops, and when pressure drops, the rules change instantly. Carbon dioxide can't stay dissolved anymore. It comes out as bubbles. Those bubbles make the water lighter, lighter water rises faster, faster rise drops pressure even more gases escapes, it becomes a positive feedback loop. In seconds, a slow, invisible build-up turns into a runaway release. The lake doesn't explode, it fizzes, like a soda bottle that has been shaken for decades and finally opened. What escapes is a massive cloud of carbon dioxide, cold, invisible, silent. And unlike most gases, CO2 doesn't rise, it flows. It spills over the lake's edge, pours into valleys, hugs the ground, and pushes oxygen out of the way as it moves. Anything breathing in its path is affected instantly. The body loses access to oxygen and people collapse where they stand. This is exactly what happened at Lake Nyos in August 1986. You see, Lake Nyos was a deep volcanic crater lake surrounded by villages. For years, it looked completely normal. Then one night, something disturbed it. No one heard anything unusual, but within minutes, about 300,000 tons of CO2 got released. A dense cloud, estimated to be about 50 meters thick, rolled outward, and it traveled for more than 20 kilometers into the villages below. By morning, over 1,700 people were dead. Thousands of animals lay where they had fallen. Survivors described dizziness, then darkness. Many woke up hours later surrounded by bodies with no memory of what happened. What makes Lake Nyos especially haunting is that it wasn't the first warning. 2 years earlier, a similar event occurred at Lake Monon. Same region, same volcanic conditions, same silent suffocation, that 7 people died. At that time, scientists didn't fully understand what they were saying. Lake Nyos was the moment the pattern became impossible to ignore. So why doesn't this happen everywhere? Because limnic eruptions require a very specific combination of conditions. You need a volcanic source constantly supplying gas, a deep lake capable of holding enormous pressure, permanent stratification that prevents mixing, and enough time for gas to accumulate. Remove any of those and the risk of a disaster happening drops dramatically. But when all 4 align, the lake becomes a loaded system waiting for a trigger. After Lake Nyos, the solution wasn't dramatic, it was careful. Scientists installed degassing pipes that reach the bottom of both lakes. These pipes allow CO2 to rise slowly and escape in controlled amounts. Instead of a violent release, the lake is gently exhaled. It's basically pressure management on a large scale. Today, Lake Nyos and Lake Manon are monitored constantly. But this lake aren't the end of the story, because the most dangerous limnic lake on Earth hasn't erupted at all. It's called Lake Kivu, and it sits between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Unlike Lake Nyos, Lake Kivu is massive, and beneath its calm surface it holds something far more unsettling. Not just carbon dioxide, but enormous quantities of methane as well. So much gas locked under pressure that a sudden release wouldn't just affect a village, it could endanger millions of people living along its shores. The reason Lake Kivu hasn't become another Nyos isn't because it's harmless, it's because it's been washed. Its chemistry is monitored constantly, methane is extracted deliberately to reduce pressure and even to generate electricity. And that leads to one final uncomfortable detail. Every lake on Earth known to be capable of a true limnic eruption exists in one place: Africa. They sit still, they look ordinary, and remind us that silence doesn't mean safety.